Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey and welcome back to another episode of r/entitled parents. We have a few stories today of absolutely Karen-esque behaviour just because, they dropped a sprog. So get some popcorn, put your feet up and let's crack on to some entitled parents.
How dare that lady be travel sick?
So this happened about 5 years ago. My friends and I travelled to Orlando from London for 3 weeks. On the way out, we had seats side by side, but on the way back, we got to the airport a bit later, so ended up with aisle seats, one behind the other. No problem, we'll manage. We get to the flight, and I end up sitting next to this couple. We get settled in and say hello. They tell me they just got married and are going on a European adventure for their honeymoon. I offer them some tips on nice places in London, and we're getting on well. The new wife, husband is new husband, also mentioned that she gets travel sick on flights and might need to get past me in a rush. She was really apologetic. I said no problem, that I sometimes had similar problems. At this point, the entitled mum dragging her crying toddler by one hand while her daughter is slouching behind them. The daughter looked maybe 10. They sat beside me. I glanced back at my friend and she grinned as though to say, good luck. We take off, and for the first half hour, everything is fine. I put my earphones in and was listening to an audiobook, because this prevents anxiety on flights for me. Then I noticed new wife move so her back is to me, head on new husband's shoulder. He's stroking her back and talking to her. A few minutes later, he grabs a sick bag from the seat pocket. She's very inconspicuous about it, but I noticed entitled mother looking our way and frowning. 10 minutes later, new wife feels unwell again and decides to go to the bathroom. New husband and I exchange sympathetic looks. At this point, I feel a tap on my elbow. It's entitled mother. Entitled mother. Could you ask her not to do that? Me. Who not to do what? Entitled mother. Your friend not to, pass things. It's disgusting and disturbing my daughter. Her daughter is playing a Nintendo DS and is thoroughly absorbed from what I can see. Me, sorry, but I'm not with her. I'm with my friend behind me. Besides, she's travel sick, ma'am. She can't help it. Entitled mother, don't lie. You were talking to her. Besides, you can hold it in. Me, we're sitting together for 8 hours. We exchange pleasantries. That's it. At this point, new husband chimes in. If you have a problem with my wife, talk to me. Entitled mother, she should be passing stuff like that. She should be more discreet. New husband, she was. No one else seemed disturbed. Me, I wouldn't have known hadn't she said something to me. Entitled mother, you're a pair of liars. I'll get this resolved. She presses the call button. A minute later, flight attendant comes down the aisle. Flight attendant, yes, how can I help? Entitled mother, the woman who is with these two keeps being sick and disturbing my daughter. I want them moved. Your husband, I don't... The attendant gives him a, don't worry, I'll sort this look. Actually, I was just talking with your wife, sir, giving her some ginger ale to help. She mentioned you two are newlyweds. Congratulations. To help resolve the issue, and as our gift to you, I'd be happy to move you both up to 2 available first-class seats. Entitled mother's jaw dropped. It was glorious. With a big grin, new husband picked up their rucksack and things and left, giving me a shoulder squeeze as he did. Entitled mother spent the rest of her flight in stony silence, while I got my friend to join me in my row. As we picked up our bags, we saw the couple again, looking very happy and loved up. I hope they're both still happy. So this entitled mother showed so many levels of an entitled nature, it's unbelievable. The fact that she, if somebody's, vomiting, you don't really want attention. It's like when you're being sick and then somebody calls out to you, are you okay? And it's really awkward because you just want to be like, give me a few minutes and then we can talk about whether or not I'm okay, So the fact that she would be trying and peering around and trying to look, seeing if she was throwing up, that is just a level of real creepy nosiness, or nosy creepiness, whichever way around you want to put it. The fact that she decided to force herself into the situation and then was offended by it, using her daughter as an excuse, my daughter's upset, kids don't really care if someone's throwing up. If anything, kids are freaking gross. Kids love gross stuff. They want to see that stuff, That's just one of the things about kids. Why do you think there are so many freaking toys around that are revolved around poo? It's just how they are. It's far more likely that you, entitled mother, were offended by daring to see somebody have a medical condition, which, you can't help, and also that she can just hold it. What Look, I mean, if you are being sick, you cannot hold it at all. And also, it makes me wonder, what has this woman been doing? If she can hold it, does that mean that she's just been swallowing? Oh, I wish I hadn't said that. I made myself feel queasy. But if you didn't feel queasy enough right now, I've got a story. I've got a similar story that shows that you cannot hold it in. A few years ago, I decided to treat my family to a trip to the theatre to see Avenue Q. By the way, amazing musical, absolutely hilarious. I'm not really a musical person, but it just ticked all of the boxes for me. It was really good. Anyway, it was like literally in the last song, right? It was in the last sort of conclusion song that you get at the end, and they're all sort of putting everything together, and I just suddenly felt really dizzy. And I mean really dizzy, like the room was spinning, I was hot, and then I just kept going between I'm gonna faint to I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna faint, I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna faint, I'm gonna faint, I'm gonna faint. And I remember thinking, just gripping onto the seats in this theatre, which by the way, it was too warm, and also there was absolutely no leg room, and I have restless leg syndrome, which was great. And also, being a chunky guy, those seats are very, very thin. And the thing is that when you have a large bum, and most seats are equipped for bums that are, half the size of yours, it freaking hurts to sit in them, okay? I have left places with legit bruises on the sides of my legs because the chairs were not suitable for people of my size. So I was there to watch sit and enjoy watching something, which I then just couldn't do because it was, I was feeling hot, I was feeling sick, I was, my bum was being squeezed to death, and I just suddenly felt really dizzy, and I was like, look, I can make it, it's the last thing, and then boom, I threw up. And at first, as soon as I felt it start to come out, I covered my mouth, and I was like, okay, I can hold it, nope, can't hold it, and then it just freaking shot out of me, and showered a couple below me that were on a date, and at that moment I wanted to die. There were people talking about the vomiting person in the row ruining their experience so they couldn't see it again on Twitter. It was just absolutely humiliating, and now I can look back and laugh at it because, my god, just having someone ruin your date by throwing up right at the end of Avenue Q is probably not how they wanted to end their date. But for me, at that point, I just wanted to not exist. I ran to the loo, I took off my jumper, which was, just covered in vomit, and I left. I was in tears, and I was saying to my family, like, you can go back in and watch. And then they were like, what, do you really want us to have, left with you vomiting and then go back to where the vomit is and just take our seats? And I felt awful because I felt like I've ruined the day out, even though, I'd paid for it as well. And, so, trust me, there are times that you really want to be able to hold it in and you just can't. So that request was just not feasible by any stretch of the imagination. Entitled mother demands I eat a cake that I was allergic to. Entitled parent attempts to steal my cupcake. So, a bit of background. When I was about 3 to 4, I had a very long list of food allergies. These include milk, wheat, eggs, and peanuts. So, I was at a friend's birthday party, minding my own business, eating the food my mum had packed for me. Everything at the party had at least one of my allergens. When the entitled parent and nice child walked up. At this point, I was eating a carrot cupcake that my mum had baked. Entitled mother demands I give her child my cupcake, saying, "Stop eating your stupid stuff and eat the cake and pizza." Note, I had slight speech problems and I sounded small and unsure all the time. I stammer out, "This is my cupcake. I'm allergic to the cake." The entitled mother proceeds to yank my cupcake from my hands and throws it on the ground and walks away. I sit there sulking for a bit, but then I remember I still had some left. I resume eating my cupcake when entitled mother comes back with a slice of cake. She says, "Eat this and give the cupcake to my child." Now, this cake had peanut butter, which causes an anaphylactic reaction if I'm too close to the cake. I push the cake away and scooch over. Now, she attempts to grab my cupcake, and in a stroke of pure genius, I did what any 4-year-old would do. I spit all over my cupcake. I sat there solemnly as she walked away, enjoying the moment of my victory. So, have you ever heard the phrase, like stealing candy from a baby, meaning something very easy, yet generally morally horrible to do? I think irreprehensible is what I was trying to say, but my mouth was just like, nope, you're not gonna words right now, Joey. I mean, that's literally what this is. She took cake from a child. What? I mean, why would you do that? And especially, like, a 4-year-old child. And if that child says, like, I'm I'm allergic to something, you need to take that seriously. I mean, if any child says that, if anyone says that they're allergic to something, you have to take this very seriously. The entitled mother, through her pushiness, could have very easily killed this child, and throwing the cupcake to the ground as one of the few things that this child can eat. I mean, that's just so cruel. And just because you want, like, another child to have it, I mean, what's that about? I mean, it doesn't even look like it was was it the birthday kids? And then they were like, oh, this is a different kind of cake, so you need to let my child try the different kind? I mean, is that what it's about? I mean, even so, it's absolutely wrong. And to go to stupid stuff and eat this, why would you outrightly be cruel to a freaking toddler? That's what this is. It's so cruel. Also, one little thing that I found kind of interesting is that OP said, when I had a very long list of food allergies. Does this mean that they can go away? I've heard about them developing, but is it true that you can actually get over an allergy? If anybody knows about that, then let me know in the comments, because I find that quite interesting to find out. Entitled parent gets talentless girl into school band, gets mad when people don't applaud when she sings. A little background. My school has one of the best underage bands in the city. Not a small one, in spite of being a moderate-sized school, 1,000 kids. Ooh. They perform at big places and draw in huge audiences. So anyway, there's this entitled parent, EP, who is a teacher, and her daughter, ED, goes to the school. Now, the daughter is a bad singer. There's no two ways about it. Hope that's the correct way to use the phrase. So anyway, one day the band's pianist, Kay, is fuming during the bus ride back. On being asked, he begins to rant about how entitled parent forced a music teacher to put entitled daughter on the band, etc. They had a show in the city's biggest mall the next week and have been practicing for months. Entitled parent wanted entitled daughter to sing for that show. Anyway, it's the day of the show. I'm watching from the audience. The first having songs bring in a huge audience and everyone enjoys the amazing music. Then it's entitled daughter's turn. The guitarist plays the opening notes of a very popular song during the time. The crowd goes wild. Then entitled daughter sings. The enthusiasm drained away fast. There is silence as entitled daughter massacres an amazing song. Then entitled parent gets up and starts clapping loudly. Everyone is mortified. Some people start to awkwardly clap. The teacher tried to move to the next song. Entitled mother yells out, "Wait! They haven't clapped for my angel's performance yet!" The audience is dumbfounded. I see Kay facepalm. Oh yeah, that's the pianist. I see the pianist facepalm. Then entitled dad yells, no, sorry, God, I'm messing this up. Then entitled daughter yells into the microphone, "Clap for me!" No one moves a muscle. Entitled daughter runs off the stage and entitled parent takes the microphone and yells, "You can't appreciate talent!" before chasing after entitled daughter. Concert continued. Entitled daughter left the band. Entitled parent is still in the school. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes awards in the comments. So I feel like if we knew the age of the entitled daughter in this situation, then it would really change, like, the vibe. I mean, is this, say a 15-year-old girl that just can't accept that she's, not as talented as she's always wanted to be? Or is this like a really young kid whose parents are just so convinced that she's amazing that they're, leading her for great disappointment in life? It's like those, have you seen those angry parents on the X Factor and all of that, where there'll be somebody that sings and the parents are just so sure that they've got an absolutely beautiful voice that after the rejection, they'll actually go in and be like, "Do you have a heart?" or whatever. No, it doesn't. This is about high class talent, and if you've not got, I mean, I'm not a great singer. I'm not a bad singer. I mean, I'm better than some of the people on X Factor, but I've not got a freaking X Factor. I would never go for one of those things because you have to be the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. Just like with athletics, it's not good enough to just be good anymore. And, you know, let's face it, most people can sing relatively decently. I think it's a talent that most people are very mediocre at. But, you know, for someone to be that bad of a singer that, you know, I mean, the thing is that if a kid gets up on stage and sings, everybody's gonna freaking clap anyway. The fact that nobody clapped just shows how bad they were. And the fact that they tried to just move on to the next song just, you know, to cover it up, and then the mother shouted, "No, wait, she hasn't finished, you know, she hasn't had her clap yet." She hasn't had a clap. No, but like she hasn't been applauded, and it's just bringing more attention to the fact that nobody actually likes this. I mean, in a way, this kid is gonna have so much, you know, embarrassment. Like, you know those horrible memories where you think back and you remember the cringiest things from your childhood, and you're like, oh god, I did that. This is gonna be that situation for the entitled daughter. Well, that's it for this episode of r/entitled parents. Honestly, when I read these, I often feel just so sorry for the kids because they're going to be feeling so much embarrassment from this. And as I say at the end of every episode, if you enjoyed hearing from this subreddit or would like to hear from any other subreddit, then do let me know in the comments. Also, feel free to email me your stories. I would love to read them out. And until then, I'll see you all next time.